Today we're going to consider some thoughts from Psalm 62. And in this psalm, David is talking about how he could take refuge in the Lord in time of trouble. Now, as we've been going through various psalms each week, we've seen this as a recurring theme where God is the source of strength in time of trouble. And given the times that we live in, it's probably an important reminder for us that we keep reinforcing this point that God is where we go when we need strength and when we are in trouble. So in Psalm 62, we won't read all of these verses, but just notice a few of the highlights. First two verses, he says, "My soul waits in silence for God only. From him is my salvation. He only is my rock and my salvation. My stronghold, I shall not be greatly shaken." David here is saying that I will not be shaken. And there are things around us that can shake our faith, that can cause us to become distracted from serving God and the hope that we have in him. He says, I'm not going to be shaken. He says in there that I wait for God only. God is the only one who can provide the help that we need, who can provide the hope that we are looking for. It is only in God. He is our source of strength. And we need to remember that and not look elsewhere besides him. Then down in verses 5 through 8, he says, "My soul, wait in silence for God only, for my hope is from him. He only is my rock and my salvation. My stronghold, I shall not be shaken. On God my salvation and my glory rest. The rock of my strength, my refuge is in God. Trust him at all times, O people. Pour out your heart before him. God is a refuge for us." Again, David goes back to talking about how God alone, God only is this source of strength. So he could trust in God, he could put his strength, his faith in him, and God would strengthen him and provide the help and the hope that he needed. But then he says here in verse 8, "Trust in him at all times, O people." This is for all of us. Trust in God at all times. Not just when things seem to be going smoothly, but even when things are difficult. Even when times are uncertain, put your trust in God. Trust in him. Pour out your heart before him. Go to him in prayer. Rely upon him and his strength. God is a refuge for us. We need to look to him. We need to be strengthened by him and his word and his promises, because this world is full of trouble. We are being shaken and tossed about, but if we are trusting in God and following him, we have a solid foundation. God is able to be that protection for us. But we need to put our trust in him, rely on him, and look to him as the only source of our hope and our help.